After creating my Assassin's Creed Ghost Alt ranking video, I realized that the way people think about ghosting are really different. Maybe because we all come from different games and heard of the playstyle from different sources. And so, I decided to make this video to show where I'm coming from when I'm ghosting Assassin's Creed and other games as well. Now before I begin, disclaimer first. This is not me telling you guys how to ghost. Play as you like, ghost as you like. It's a video game. And as Barbosa once said,
the code is more what you call guidelines than actual rules.
So yeah, this is just me listing down the rules I follow when ghosting. It will serve as my basis when doing these challenges, and if you'd like, you can use it too. So let's start. Basically, the rules I follow in ghosting are the ones in the TFTLLG forums. I'll show the site and the thread that I refer to now. I've been using this rule since maybe 2014 or somewhere around that after I watched someone ghost Hitman Absolution and I wanted to do the same in Dishonored. I became interested in ghosting and I stumbled upon a thread. Not this one. It was a different post but they have basically the same rules. This one I guess is an updated one with more information. And so yeah, I began applying these rules whenever I'm playing stealth games. And now here we are. Now if you look closely, these rules are specifically for the Thief games. So since I mostly post about Assassin's Creed, there will be some changes and compromises to the rules so we can ghost Assassin's Creed. Also, I'd like to point out that there is this version of ghosting called Supreme Ghosting. It's a beefed up rule set that is very strict. I won't go much into detail about that since most of those really don't or can't be applied to Assassin's Creed. So yeah, I'll start with the rules now. So the first rule is, play at the highest difficulty level available and playable. So this is very straightforward. So when ghosting, it is best to play on max difficulty. Now in Assassin's Creed, this is applicable only in the RPG game since I don't think the early games had difficulty levels. But to be honest, I didn't even follow this when I played Valhalla. My reason was because I wanted to create a video that most players can follow and most players will be playing at the normal difficulty. But maybe I'll replay the missions on Drenger or max difficulty one day, we'll see. Second rule is, no combat damage may be dealt or taken and no knockouts or kills of any kind are allowed. This rule I tried to apply to most of my ghost runs in Assassin's Creed. This rule just means you cannot damage enemies or knock them out unless it is a mission objective. So you know you can't use abilities or tools that damage enemies. So like, think of Sinin in Valhalla when she's level 2. She kinds of damages and stun enemies. So that means that the use of Sinin in Valhalla is not allowed if you're following this rule. Knockouts are also not allowed, but since we're talking about Assassin's Creed, it kind of is allowed since there will be scenarios that will require you to knock out guards. Just think of it as a last resort when there is really no other way to an objective. So if you can pickpocket someone instead of killing them, or maybe there's another option, a unique option, well that is better than knocking them out. Third rule is, damage taken from falls, machinery, lava, etc. is allowed as a last resort. So basically this means that you should avoid taking damage when you are ghosting unless there's no other way. So for example, you might need to do a risky high jump to get to an objective without being seen. That is okay if you get damaged, if that's really the only way. This is also why when I play forced combat scenarios, like fighting the Compass and Count Odo in Valhalla, I reload when I get hit. And if you watch those videos, I basically did no hit runs with those. That was fun and satisfying. Fourth rule is, no second level alerts are allowed. That is recognition or hunting alerts of human or non-human AI. The wording of this rule is really for Thief, but if we convert it to Assassin's Creed, it just means you can't let a guard become suspicious and investigate. This means that you can't let the SSI meter turn yellow. However, because of the level design in most AC games, this is really a difficult one to follow, especially if you're not using any tools. So what I do is allow myself to raise alert levels up to the yellow SSI level. This also allows me to lure guards in certain positions without using any tools. However, in Valhalla, I was actually able to follow this rule at least 80 to 90% of the time. And that is without using tools also. The fifth rule is you cannot cause self-deletion of AI. For example, by blocking a patrol path so an enemy falls into water, or luring an enemy underneath a crushing elevator. You also cannot cause enemy infighting where AI start attacking each other or make other AI run away from other AI. And you cannot use a device to create friendly AI that start attacking enemies for you. So this rule talks mostly about those cheesy ways some may try to circumvent the ghosting rules. You know, some might think, oh, I can't kill enemies, then I'll let the AI do it for me. Well, that is not allowed in ghosting. It's basically just common sense. You can only kill quest objectives, so all the non-scripted deaths that happen on a level, that is on you. Sixth rule is, no property damage is allowed. No banners cut, no doors bashed in, no things burnt or destroyed, and no broken glass. This is not really applicable to most AC games. I guess in Valhalla you could break down doors and windows, but it's really minor. But I do tend to follow this just because in my headcanon, breaking down doors is a dead giveaway that someone was there. Still, there are cases when I break this, especially when there is no other way to an objective. Seventh rule is the use of potions such as speed, breath, and invisibility is allowed but frowned upon. So this means that when ghosting, abilities and tool usage is okay, but the ghosting community would prefer it if you don't. This is because using tools kind of leaves evidence that someone was there. I mean, imagine when you use smoke bombs to pass through a highly guarded area or throw noisemakers. If that is not evidence that someone was in the area, well, I don't know. And in the supreme ghosting category, the rule outright states that no tools can be used except for necessary ones to complete missions. So yeah, this is why when I'm ghosting in Assassin's Creed, I try to use as few tools as possible. 8th rule is, the use of quirks of the game engine is allowed, but only as a last resort. This refers to bugs, glitches that you can use to bypass areas or complete objectives. While using them is allowed, it is best to use them when there is no other option. 9th rule is, no loot cheats or walkthroughs are allowed. This is self-explanatory, don't cheat. 10th rule is, it is not necessary to reshut doors, relight torches, return keys, etc. Just finish the mission clean, damage-free, and alert-free. So when you move certain objects like crates or boxes, no need to return them. However, in the Supreme Ghosting rule set, it is necessary to do this. In Assassin's Creed, this mostly applies to those boxes blocking doorways and open doors. 11th rule is, any mission objective that explicitly requires the one of the above rules to be broken, such as kill X, is okay to complete and does not bust the ghost so long as no AI are alerted in the process. Unavoidable consequences triggered at the same time as completing a required objective are also excused. So this refers to the exemption of being able to kill only the targets as long as you remain undetected. In cases where there are unavoidable consequences such as forced combat after an assassination, these are allowed since you really have no choice, right? 12th rule is, AI behaviors caused by program scripts and not caused by the players being seen or heard are allowed, but should be verified by the ghosting community. This is talking about scenes or events that players have no control over, like when you pass a certain threshold, a scene between NPCs may happen, and you end up being detected or something else. In Assassin's Creed, I think this can apply during cutscenes when you end up being detected after, so those moments are okay. Lastly, 13. The entire mission must be ghosted to claim success. So from mission start to end, these rules, or at least those that are applicable, must be followed. And so yeah, that's it. So remember, these are just guidelines that you can follow if you want to ghost in Assassin's Creed or other stealth games. You can tweak it as much as you want and play how you like.